Of course, we focus on the transfiguration today. But I think the destination of the transfiguration is not about transfiguration. It's about resurrection. It's about Jesus died on the cross for us, and he will rise again. So that is the resurrection. But today, did you see the connection and the parallel between Abraham sacrificed or about to sacrifice his son Isaac, and Jesus will be sacrificed on the cross by his father, if you will? Did you see the connection? The scene of Abraham waiting for so long, maybe 99 years of his age, to have Isaac, the only son. And then God called him and said, Abraham, I want you to bring your only son to the mountain over there and sacrifice him for me. I'm thinking about your own children right here. You have a beautiful boys, beautiful girls, and then God said, bring him and sacrifice him for me. You don't want to do that. And say, what kind of religion is that? I can't do that. No way, Jose. Listen to him. And of course, God stopped Abraham from killing or sacrificing Isaac. My brothers and sisters, Jesus transfigured before the disciples. Let them know that, yes, this is the Son of Man, awesome. But we cannot stay on a mountaintop for the rest of our life. Very short moment. And after that, they have to go down and face the reality. And the reality is very messy, very challenging. But Jesus want to point it out to the disciples that is the destination. And his destination is not about death. You see, a lot of times we only see death is our destination. Yesterday I had a chance to go and visit the dead. 2 of them. One of them I met and I saw and I talked almost a lot of times, because he from my home parish in New Orleans, in Marrero. But when I walked in at 10:30 in the morning in a funeral home, he by himself there. And they opened the casket and he was laying down there. Now I still remember him talking to me every time I came to my parish there. Very gentle man, very holy man, very caring person. And now he's laying down there in the casket by himself in that empty room. And I walked in and, it's chill. How am I doing with this dead corpse, if you will? And I'm asking myself, what he's doing here? Where he's going from here? It's like the disciples asking that same question. What does it mean, rise from the dead? Now, a lot of times we just live our lives so that we die happily, but we don't believe the life after. Today, we need to recommit, renew our faith. And we know that we not just live so that we die one day. We have to live so that we live forever. And if we listen to Jesus, it's not just listen with our ears, but we listen with our faith. We listen with our heart. We listen with our belief that we're not dying one day on this earth. That's it. We have to believe that we have life eternal. But you know, it's hard to recognize and understand with our own naked eyes. And so death becomes mystery for almost all of us. But today, my brothers and sisters, transfiguration shows us that Jesus is awesome God. He's a son of the living God, that his Father loves him. But his Father has to sacrifice him for us. And we are called to do the same. To do the same here is not to suffer. To do the same here is to entrust ourselves to God. Like Abraham entrusted his son to God, so that he raising his knife and about to sacrifice Isaac, he heard another voice say, Abraham, Abraham, stop murdering or killing or sacrificing your son. Now I know that you trust in me totally. That's the difference between trust and trust totally. We need to trust totally, my brothers and sisters. My question for you today is, do we listen to Jesus? And listening to me in order to hear is not enough. Listen in order to understand is not enough. But listen in order to carry on the message. To carry on here means to live out our life every day, so that we become even Christ-like, become another Christ for today's world. But my brothers and sisters, listening is the number one challenging problem right now. I don't want to bring this up, but this is always in front of me. I don't want to be one of the congressmen and senators sitting in that chamber and discussing about ideas and issues and policies. You know why? Because if you are Republican, you walk in with Republican agenda. If you're Democrats, you walk in with Democrats agenda. And it seems like you argue with the wall, because it's hard to change, figure, or convince anyone to think otherwise. You know what I mean? And so when we listen with agenda. We not listen without agenda. Today, we are called to listen to one another, not with our ears, but also our positive imagination and with generous heart. That's my challenge for us today. How can we listen without even fixed perception, ideas about each other? Because it's not easy, I know that. But if we don't listen, it's hard to say correctly. They say this: when you talk, you only talk what you already knew. But when you hear or listen, you learn something new. I pray and wish that our parishioners here, the people, could hear the Word of God today. Not just learn to listen, but listen to the voice of God. Listen and learn and follow the example of Jesus Christ, so that we're not stuck with today's world, just today's policy or today's limitation, but we go beyond this life, so that we rise with Christ later after this. May God bless us, and especially my young people over there. Don't be afraid of even losing your own life. Trust that God is with you always. Like the second reading today, St. Paul said, if God is with us, nobody can go against us. If we have God with us, we have nothing to fear, even death. And so let us celebrate again and again life of Jesus. His Paschal mystery is his life, his suffering, his death, and his resurrection.